Okay, guys. Took the side cover off, drained the oil out. So let me get my light on here. Ooh, bright light. Drain the oil out. Took the hoses out here. This was the oil pump that was on the inside of that cover. And there's, I don't know, about 8 hex bolts that go around there. So make sure your oil is thoroughly drained. Then thump on that. I just used my rubber mallet down here. Thump on it to kind of break it loose, and then it slides right off. This is the Kickstarter right here. I don't know if you guys can tell or not. But I pulled it around, checked all the gears, looks great, absolutely fabulous. No broken teeth at the bottom, not a bunch of silver or anything that tells me that there might have been worn gears on the inside of that engine casing. There's your clutch cover there, and that clutch, I don't think I'm even gonna take it off. You can still see the resin, the red marks on it. There's nothing worn on that clutch as far as I can tell. Don't see any marks there where anybody else has taken it apart. I don't think that side cover's ever been off, to be honest with you. There is a gasket, and again, that's the original gasket. It stayed intact when I took it off. So I'm gonna roll with it. I'll probably take a little liquid gasket and smear it around when I made it back together. But I took this side cover off. I'm cleaning it up right now. Got it in my sink. Used Dawn and power degreaser, you know, just the cheap 99-cent purple stuff. And dry it up. Then I have ordered from Kbs-coatings out of Valparaiso, Indiana. Proud to support a hometown company there. I'm in Brownsburg, but we're close enough to call it cousins. So I've ordered what they call blacktop. I talked with them. They have chassis paint, which I will use next time. I did not even realize about KBS until I started working on the tank. And if you remember, I sealed that tank over here with the KBS gold seal. Really like it. It's not red, it's not a ugly color, it's the nice silver color like an inside of a tank should look like. Covered really well, used their 3-part system. I think they call it Clean Rust Blast, which is kind of like a muriatic acid with, I think the zinc is what they say is in it, along with some other special things. And then put that in there and coated that tank. This blacktop stuff, it's supposed to be extremely durable. Probably, I'm assuming it's going to be up there with powder coating. And it's probably very similar to what was used on this bike originally by the Japanese. And they've got it in a flat black, and they have flat satin gloss, and then they have a whole, they have like 3 or 4 different lines. I don't want this to sound like an ad for them. They're not paying me or anything. But I got an 8-ounce can of this stuff. Supposedly you can brush it on. It's self-leveling. You can spray it as well. I'm going to brush it just because it is so darn cold, and I don't want to heat this garage up to operating temperatures. So I'm going to brush it. I'll probably do it inside in my office, put down some cardboard, and you do 2 thin coats. So when it comes time and I get the product, I'll show you how I do that. But I'm going to do the 2 side covers, which is this one over here, obviously, and the other one, which is over here. And like I said, I've been scrubbing those down with Dawn and degreaser. I've got them cleaned up, got them in there sitting by the fireplace right now, drying out. Real good. This paint probably won't be here for a week or so anyway. But it was really a good deal. 8 ounces was 21 bucks. And this is, if it does what it says it does, I am going to be just thrilled. And then maybe when I take the tops off and replace these, I don't know, maybe I'll do the fins. They have high temp paint and all of that as well. But, you know, we'll see. I have started working on doing some of the fun electrical wiring and trying to get it back. Not there yet. I need to look up and trace down a lot of circuits here. Everything does work. I get my flashers come on, high beam, low beam lights come on, my neutral light comes on. Stop lamp, when I press on the brake, it brightens up. I haven't adjusted the brakes, so that's why it's on all the time. Plus I don't have anything up here in the master cylinder yet. I did also go out today and bought a fuse. So this is missing a fuse, and I've been doing this work without a fuse, which makes me a little bit nervous. It's worth the, you know, $6 or $7 just to get a little inline fuse and a couple fuses. 10 amp fuse is all you need here. And that way if I cross something up here or get it wrong, it doesn't ignite my wiring harness or blow out anything else down here. So that's where we're at right now. It's Tuesday, just kind of been working on it some Sunday. I don't think I did anything yesterday. I spent an hour out here today. And I'll be traveling for work a little bit this week. And then hopefully next week when I get when I come back, I'll do some more on Wednesday and Thursday. Again, not gonna be real exciting work to film because I'm gonna spend a lot of time just tracing down my electrical and making sure I get this all set up right. So my turn signals do they don't flash, they just come on solid right now. So I've got to trace wires and get the multimeter out and probably spend a couple hours just doing that. Then I might do this if the paint hasn't come, set the brake fluid up, get it going. I think that is about it for right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Okay, guys, just want to give you a quick little look at the oil pump off of this thing. So scraped a little bit of the gasket off there. I'll take some cleaner, clean it off. It was obviously pretty oily and pretty dirty. This is the main intake from the oil tank on the rd350. And then you've got 2 outtakes that pump the oil up to the carbs to mix after the fuel. You'll see here that there's arrows that show this thing move, and if you listen, hear it click. And it's actually working. I can't really do this without both of my hands, but if you open up the charge here, you'll hear it click and you'll actually see little bits of oil or bubbles come out of here. So I know it's working good. So just needed a good cleanup. Gonna have to make a gasket, which should be a pretty simple thing to do. There's 2 screws on this that go into some of my plates over there. And that's what does the auto lube. I did order some more smaller diameter fuel line. This oil line is the same as the fuel line, size-wise. These two here are 2.5 or 3 millimeter or 3/32, depending on what you go for, inside diameter and about 5 millimeter outside diameter. So I didn't have any of that. It's really, really small stuff that goes on those brass nipples there. So I've got some of that coming. Found it on eBay. Cost me about $10, and then shipping, of course. But oil pump looks really, really good. Spent a little bit of time this evening just cleaning up these outside covers, like I showed you before, and they're drying now. So I'll scrub them down again, and then use some spot putty. I don't really have any big gashes. I guess the biggest one is on this. There's a little one right there. So I think I can cover that up all right. And then there's a really good scrape in there. I'm gonna sand it down and see what I can do with that. If I can smooth that out so nobody would notice it. And then I need to sand these down. The guy is at KBS, said to use 320, and then I'll spray their clean and the rust blast and all of that on here as well, and just use frog tape, you know, the really good green painter's tape, to mask off the Yamaha badges on there, because they're actually, it's not a sticker or anything. You can get reproduction stickers, but this is not a sticker. It's painted that way. So I want to take care to make sure. And then I'll have to do some good taping on these stripes so the silver doesn't get on there. Because this is a really, I don't want to say it's thick. I don't know that it's thick, but it's a very durable product that I purchased. And it will be like this stuff that doesn't scratch easy. And it was, I think I paid $21 or $23 for 8 ounces, which is supposed to cover 12 square feet, which is more than enough to do these side covers. So I think that's a really good deal. It's going to give it that real authentic look. It comes in the flat black, which I like. So we'll see when it arrives. Still have some more cleanup to do. And of course there's fuel lines. So thanks for watching. Okay, everybody, just wanted to show you, these are the side panels all cleaned up. I sanded them with 320 and really just kind of smoothed down these marks, the scrapes. You know, it cleared off some other ones. Obviously they popped up, but that's fine. We're gonna paint it. I ordered the paint. It is called Black Top Chassis Paint. It comes in OEM satin from Kbs-coatings in Valparaiso, Indiana. So just ordered that, which is plenty to do this little set right here. And so I'm getting everything prepped. It's not supposed to be here till maybe Friday or Saturday. It'll get here before Christmas, so I'm sanding this all down, 320, washing them off. I'm gonna take the green tape and mark off my Yamaha areas there. There is one big divot there that's not gonna sand out. See if I can get in there a little bit. So I'm gonna take a little spot putty and move that over. Down here at 2, it looks like they dropped it. So I sanded some of that out, just plain old sandpaper and elbow grease. But I think if I hit it with some spot putty as well, that will just about disappear. So I'm getting about ready to do the spot putty on this, and Then I'll have to sand a little bit more to sand it down. And then I'll tape it off and get it all taped up so that I'm ready to paint when the paint shows up. So just a quick update. Okay guys, just wanted to show you, sanded these all down with 320. Touched up any deep scratches or gouges that I had with just a little bit of putty. Sanded them again. There really wasn't a lot. A lot of the sanding that I did was just to feather out some of the paint that, I don't want to say it flaked because I had to sand it, but some of the old paint and scratches. And this is just smooth as silk. So I just took a little glazing putty. So I put these out here. I think this was my worst piece. Had a good nick in there, and that's just crystal smooth. And then in here there was a nice big gouge, and I think I did pretty good. You can just very feel that if you want to. So my next step, I'll let these set overnight. I'll wash them again, dry them off, and then I'll tape off the badges and these streaks where I'm going to paint. I'm going to hand paint, so it should be all right, I think. The big thing is going to be the Yamaha badges, and then on, oh goodness, I'm going to reach over here again, and of course it jumps away. And on this thing, there's a silver ring that goes around that. How to tape that off. The outside, there's like a lip, so that's easy enough. But then how to tape off the inside ring. Paint's supposed to be here tomorrow or Saturday, so really just doing prep work to get these ready. I did get some tubing today for the oil pump, which I've cleaned up now and verified that it's working. I need some 1/8 inch tubing, which I think is 2 millimeter internal diameter. So that's shown up. So I'll be ready to paint this and put it all back together when it comes time. Okay guys, my paint came from Kbs-coatings. It's called Blacktop. This is really meant to be on chassis or frames. So I'm using a little bit different, but brusher spray, self-leveling, permanent UV stability, high temperature resistance, and I did get the OEM satin black. My wife thankfully reminded me that no, this is not flat, this is satin. So I was able to make that change and get it. I have finished taping off my pieces. Took me an hour or so. Cut the frog tape out to place the pieces up on things so that I can paint around them, because obviously I can't touch them, so I might be able to move them from underneath. The only exception is this piece, and I've taped around the outside of it. But I've got everything taped off. I made really sure that I pushed everything down real good. And pretty happy with the taping. Because this is aluminum underneath, originally I was going to do the, where is it? There it is. The Rust Blast. I had some left over from my, when I did my tank seal. But this is not rusty at all, period. Perfectly protected. So I'm not going to do the Rust Blast. If it were steel or, you know, an iron frame or whatever, I would definitely use this. But this is, you know, the side protectors of the motorcycle, and they're aluminum. So everything is cleaned up, everything is taped. I'm going to wipe a few things with denatured alcohol. I got my gloves on, as you can see. Then I've got tack cloth. I'll go over after that. And then I will start doing my first coats. I've got an assortment of brushes here. I've got my mineral spirits here just in case I get it, you know, in here or something, and I can wipe it down. I've got gloves. Doing this in my office where it's heated, so I put down a really good surface so I don't get any on my wood. And I have a feeling this stuff is going to stink to holy heck. I know the tank seal had quite the smell. So somewhere I have got a good respirator mask. I will end up cracking this window as well, just to let some of the fumes escape, and then I can shut my door, obviously, to seal off the rest of the house. And I've got my screws all ready to go here, so I can just lightly hit them and be set. So gonna do 2 coats on everything. Shouldn't take me more than an hour, I imagine. And then it's gonna stink like holy heck. So if I start it now before my wife gets home, she can't yell at me until later. So here we go, and I'll tune you guys in when I've got this all done. Okay guys, whew, this stuff is better than model glue, man. They should be checking IDs when they sell this. This is my second coat done. It's drying now. Smells to holy heckin' back. Got the window cracked open. Got a fan in the hallway to give me a little bit of positive pressure, yet still keep my heat up. It's leveling actually quite nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to live with this. I might do one more coat. I don't know. But it definitely does what it says it's supposed to do. It self-levels. Very nice. Whew. So in about, I think, 20-25 minutes, once it's dry to the touch, I'm going to try to get those badges off, well, the green tape, before it locks down on everything. So that's where we're at. Again, this is good stuff. Glad they don't put something in there to make you throw up like they do the new model glue. You just kind of have to follow the instructions. Don't work it too much. You can see I worked it a little bit too much in there, I think. But that's still got some leveling to do. Keep your brush wet and just moving. And it kind of levels out. So, is what it is. I think I'll be happy with the color. I've put wax paper down, then I put the cap back on that, and then took it out to the garage. Just like the gold sealer though, my only, I won't even call it a complaint, comment so far, about the KBS stuff, it takes an act of God to get that cap off of there. I had to get my pliers out and 2 screwdrivers with different heads to really get it. But I put wax paper down, cleaned out the rim, and you're not supposed to work from the jar, but it's an 8-ounce jar. And I used maybe a quarter of it to do all this. So it covers really, really well. But put wax paper down, you know, clean up the rim as best as you can, paper towels. Put wax paper down, then put your cap back on top of it, and you've got a chance of getting that cap back off in the future, so you can continue to use that on another project. So we'll let this continue to dry here, and hopefully I'm going to give it about 20 minutes, take the tape off, and we'll see what we see. So thanks for watching. Okay guys, here we go. Second coat. The green tape has been removed. I've used some mineral spirits and some cotton buds to just kind of clean up a little bit where it had oversprayed. It's been about 3 hours now. Really happy with the results. There is a little brush marks, if you see here. It's my fault because I kind of tried to touch those up a little bit. But all the green tape is off. I've really tried to clean up the lines a little bit. And I might do a third coat tomorrow just to try to take off some of those brush marks. But this looks really, really good. Went around there with the mineral spirits and cotton buds just to clean up the silver that went around there. You can kind of see, if you get up close, you can see the sticker that I did to cover up the Yamaha. But, you know, I guess you can kind of expect that. So, really impressed with the paint. It flowed out really well. It's uber elastic and tough. I had to pull, I got a couple of strands for my brush. I see one there that I had to pull out. There was one there and there's one up there. So I'll get a new throwaway brush. And I think tomorrow I might do a third coat. It's not gonna leave my fingerprints, but it's still tacky. It's not solid. It says, from what I've read, 24 to 48 hours before cure. So I think I'll sleep on this tonight. It's about 9 o'clock now, maybe 9:30. And then tomorrow I'll give it one more coat, specifically where I've got brush marks so that it will self-level out. Maybe. Have to think about it. But I'm really happy with it. Happy with the results. You know, I think if I'd sprayed it, it would be a lot better. But that just was not an option for me right now. So, there we are. Thanks for watching. Okay, guys. I want to give you an overview of what it looks like this morning. Well, actually, it's afternoon. I've been getting ready for our Christmas party tonight. I kind of like how it turned out. It's a little shinier than what I thought. I mean, even though it's OEM satin. The other thing is, you kind of see the differences in color here. I had some runs, and I think maybe I just applied it too thick. So I've taken, I don't know if you can kind of see there was one right in there. It's kind of hard to get. And I had a couple of brushes come out of my paintbrush and get stuck in the paint. That's what that is. So I've just sanded them down with a 320 block, really concentrating. I did do some down here too, where there were big runs, and it was all on vertical surfaces. I mean, if you remember, I had everything sitting like this, and I think that the paint is really liquidy, which is opposite of what you would think it would. be. But I think as it cures, it starts to run and then freezes on those surfaces. And then of course dries. So the instructions say to use thin coats. I'm using a brush. What's that mean? It also says to keep it moving. Don't overwork a brushed area. I mean, like, I'm really happy with the top of this area. But this one, I think I showed you last night, I had some brush marks down here. And then there was a brush, one of the loose brushes in there. So I just sanded that down 320. This one, again, the surfaces that were laying flat are fantastic. But then on the sides, I got runs. So let's try to get that in there. Focus, kind of hard to focus on black on black. So, you know, just sanded them down with a 320, I don't even know if I have it in here, 320 sanding block, one of those spongy blocks. And then I'll clean it up with alcohol, do the tack rag again, and touch it up. And just work really good on doing a very, very thin coat. I also got, so I was using these cheap throwaway brushes, and that's why the little ends came out and got in the paint. So recommend you don't use those. So I got this was a nylon $1.99 one at Walmart. So that's what I'll use, assuming I can get the can back open, which I should be able to. Here, again, where I got the tape off, remember I had the green tape around there. I was actually pretty satisfied with the centers here. There was a couple little marks there. But most of the sanding that you see around here was to get the edges off from where the tape, once I pulled up the tape, I just didn't like the way it looked. I probably didn't need to sand the surface of this, but I did. But again, on these side surfaces, I got some runs, and I had to sand it back. And we'll do it again. Can't do it tonight. I got company coming over for Christmas, but we're I'm just gonna sand a little bit more, try to get some of those highs out, and then when I paint it, I don't know how I'm gonna do it so I don't get those runs. I don't know. I gotta think about this some more. They do sell this black top in an aerosol, which I was thinking about getting originally, but when I texted with them or emailed with them, and I told them what I was going for was really durability. I wanted something that was rock solid, because this is going to be down at the bottom of the frame and getting rocks coming up. And he said to brush, and I think that's why, because you get a thicker coat, but you also take the chance of getting runs. So catch-22 there. I'll go hit it with a very light coat, see what I can do from that perspective, and then move forward. So really, really happy with this stuff. It's black top coat, black top. Here we go, black top. This is the OEM satin. Of course, I got paint all over it. It's the OEM satin chassis paint, which again, if I were painting the bottom of a chassis, I probably wouldn't care if there were, you know, runs in there. My primary thing would be to, you know, encapsulate the rust and protect. But since these are going to be visible, I'm kind of using this in a different, on different parts. I really need it to be smooth. So that's where we're at. I'm going to do a little bit more sanding on it today. Probably not going to do a lot of work on the bike. May post this as a final, and then catch up with the final paint job on these, and once I got them on the bike for next week. Thanks for watching.